tragedy of sexual violence against children in Yemen is worsening. Rape destroys the future of victims, while perpetrators exploit their positions within the state and the silence of victims to continue their shameful actions, facing any consequences. According to a 2021 study by Save the Children, the number of children at risk of sexual violence perpetrated by actors involved in the conflict has increased tenfold since 1990. Yemen ranks among the countries with the highest percentage of children residing in conflict zones, with 83% of them facing the threat of sexual violence. Watch for Human Rights documented many untold stories during the years of conflict in Yemen. Even though these are just a few stories, many more violations are occurring. In Ebb, appearances suggest a serene and tranquil existence, yet reality tells a different tale. Here, for example, one of the Houthis' general supervisors who committed an atrocious act against a child not yet 10. He suffocated the young boy and coerced 3 others under the threat of a firearm to pelt his face with stones, until life left him. Then he threw his body into the stream adjacent to the village. The child's father says,
ابني الآن عادوا بتلاشى الموتى. شخصيات كبيرة في البحث الجنائي بيستروا على القضية، والنيابة لبست القضية لمجموعة أطفال. سبت توقع أحداث. ما عندي سند ولا ظهر في السلطة، واطلب العون القانوني لإنصافنا.
A little distant geographically from the Ib city, yet closely tied to the suffering of Yemenis. In Aden, where a military commander and one of his subordinates repeatedly sexually assaulted a child and her brother. The victim's family was displaced to Aden in search of livelihood, security, and dignity. The perpetrators coerced the victim's father into participating in explicit photographs with them to manipulate the legal proceedings. The family, originally from the northern region, lacks support or protection in Aden. Exploiting this vulnerability, the criminals used threats of death or deportation to a city where they had initially sought refuge from peril.
كل اللي حصل لنا ما يستطيعش، ضربونا وشتمونا واهتدونا. كل مرة كنت أحاول أقاوم. الذي حصل لنا بشع جدا، دمروا حياتي كلها، هددونا بالقتل لو تحاكينا.
In the region between Ib and Aden, precisely in Taiz, a 13-year-old boy endured a traumatic experience. He was raped and photographed in an abandoned house by a young man whose father serves in the military. Disturbingly, the perpetrator shared the video with his friends, two of whom coerced the child into further abuse.
وكلمت أمي باللي حصل لي عشان كنت خايف منها من الفضيحة.
The exploitation and blackmail intensified, prompting the child to flee his home and city. He sought refuge by relocating to another town to live with his father, aiming to avoid further blackmail and submission.
اشتكينا الفاعل للبحث الجنائي، حبسوه شهر وخرجوه عشان عنده وساطة نسحب النفوذ. حرموني ابني لأني رفضت أتنازل زي ما فعل أبوه وأخذ فلوس.
In Marib, a 12-year-old boy returned home, exhausted and terrified. He refused to disclose what happened to him and kept everything secret until his condition worsened and his mother was forced to take him to hospital. The necessary examination was conducted, revealing his exposure to rape. The perpetrator asked the child to bring things to his house and then raped him. The mother was unable to complain because of the death threat. The same scenario repeated to her child months later and was raped by a soldier and a civilian. His mother filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigation Department. Instead of prosecuting the perpetrators, her child was detained and continued to remain in detention to this day. Because he is a victim. Unfortunately, these stories reflect a very dire circumstances that people have encountered. And from whom? From those who are meant to safeguard them. People of influence exploited the fear and silence of others, proceeding to dismantle society and indulge their numerous caprices. They assured themselves of impunity, and were undaunted by the pain, tears, and despair of the victims. Justice for Yemeni children